We just take selfies every time we come on stage. Well, first and foremost, hello and welcome to the annual scholarship banquet. My name is Ediana Isu, and I am the Associated Student Body Government President. Before I introduce our guest, Before I introduce our guest tonight, may I ask that all ASBG student leaders and student ambassadors, past and present, please stand and be recognized. I am very proud of every single one of my peers that they've worked hard all year and for the past few years. I also want to thank all those who supported and invest in Hancock students. Your generosity means that we can pay for tuition and books, and in many cases pay rent, buy gas, buy food, and pay for childcare. Your gift means we can work fewer hours and focus more on school. Our speaker tonight is no stranger to Hancock. He was a student here just a couple of years ago and graduated with not one, but 2 Hancock degrees. He's a first-generation college student who came back to college after a long and winding life, which we will now hear about tonight. At Hancock, he became a leader in the New Student Club for formerly incarcerated students and still mentors students from justice-involved backgrounds. In 2022, the Scholarship Committee unanimously awarded him the Marion Hancock Scholarship, but he didn't get to receive it in person because of the pandemic. He just completed his bachelor's degree at the University of Massachusetts, which he worked on while working as a behavioral specialist at the County of Santa Barbara. Please help me welcome our speaker for this evening, Hancock alumnus class of 2021 and 2022, Rafael Valentinos Jr.
My name is Rafael Valentinos Jr. In 2021, I earned a degree in psychology. In 2022, I earned a degree in addiction studies and co-occurring disorders, graduating alongside my daughter and wife, and 3 weeks ago, I completed my bachelor's degree in social work. This fall, I begin my master's program. For my family and other families that I know firsthand, Allen Hancock College and the resources available, including scholarships, have truly been an entry point to upward mobility, improving our socioeconomic status, and participating in our communities. I have been in honor societies at community, state, and national levels. I have worked as a peer mentor for the Rising Scholars Program. I have served as leadership for the biggest student club on campus, and I was solicited by Yale to apply for the program. Last fall, I was invited to share my experience as part of the Community College League of California Conference, and in 2021, I was the first ever Jack Kent Cook Scholarship Foundation finalist in Hancock's 100-year history. That same year, I received Hancock's most prestigious scholarship, the Marion Hancock Scholarship, for $10,000. I share all those things as a preface to tell you about the journey to get there. The first time I set foot on Hancock campus was 1997. As a result of truancy and suspicion of fighting, it was suggested that I attend Delta High School. Because my grades were pretty much still all A's, Delta enrolled me in what used to be called the High School at the College program, currently College Now. But I was actively involved in a gang culture and was already practicing a substance use disorder. While these barriers prevented me from successfully completing any classes, I had an introduction to campus and I liked it. I always had an idea that knowledge was power and power interested me because I had always felt powerless. My experience of power dynamics began early in life. My parents are Mexican citizens who worked long and hard to buy a home and took the extra effort to send us to school on the better side of town. Unfortunately, in those schools, I did not feel the same as those kids. I was too brown, too chubby, my hair was too curly, and I didn't wear the right clothes. To add to this, my name was adulterated and I became Ralph. An experience that reflected my father's as he entered his career field with predominantly white co-workers who couldn't be troubled by calling him by his given name. This simple label would be part of my experience of being ripped away from my authentic self. In 1994, at 14 years old, I became justice involved. I learned how to survive through compliance and avoidance of an authoritarian, punitive system that espoused the best interest of society, yet only ever resulted in punishment and shame for myself. These experiences conveyed to me the message that there was something wrong with me, that if something was broken, it was me, and this left me out of the reach of hope. While I would go on to repeat this cycle in and out of justice systems for almost 2 decades, I would also repeatedly start classes at Hancock, although without success due to my lifestyle. Finally, in 2009, I entered recovery from substance use disorder, and I secured myself a comfortable position in the petroleum industry. I really believed that I would stay and retire there. However, the universe seemed to have different plans for me. In 2017, my 15-year-old daughter came to live with me in an effort to bond with her. I told her, we're going to take a college course together. Her high school had the College Now program. Well, because of my failed attempts, I had to return on academic progress probation and had to fully fund my college return. We continued taking classes online semester after semester. It was not necessarily my intent to return to school. I just wanted to have something to do to connect with my child. But eventually I began to consider that maybe I didn't want to stay in my career in the oil and gas industry. By the end of 2019, I was running out of online or night school options, and I had a decision to make. In January of 2020, I retired from a 10-year career in the oil industry, and at 40 years old, I moved back in with my parents in Santa Maria. I showed up on campus this time, free of a substance use disorder and the lifestyle that I lived, and with a commitment to pursue a graduate degree. If I was going back, I was going back big. I began working for rising scholars, participating in the Biggie Club and honor societies, and building my community and social capital. All the while, I still carried fear and insecurities, shame from my life experience. My peers prompted me to apply for scholarships and to share my story without shame. Through conversation, we learned how to reframe our stories into displays of what it means to overcome. Being able to apply for scholarships provided me the opportunity to practice doing so. And when I received the scholarship, it affirmed that I am of value, that I am enough, that I am someone who is worthy of somebody else's investment. For those of you who provide and invest in future students, leaders, and community members, please continue to do so. Those investments are more than monetary. They are part of a healing process for many. For those of us that felt different than, less than, or out of place, it is reassurance that we are enough. And for those of you that have received a scholarship, remember to pay it back by investing in your peers, invest in your communities, and give back what has been so freely given to you. We have the responsibility to pay it forward. I have a responsibility to pay it forward. And above all, stay true to your journey. Learn about yourself. Practice being your genuine self. You are enough. Please show up every day as your authentic self. Share that with the world. You are enough and you are loved. Thank you for your time.
Over a 45-year history, the Allen Hancock College Foundation has provided scholarships to thousands of students like Ralph. And it's almost time to make our scholarship presentations tonight, but not quite. Hang on. I want to say a little bit more about the foundation. We hold over $22 million in endowments, and we help support student scholarships and other priorities. But with $22 million, that's still not enough to meet students' real needs. Now, most of you know our scholarships are for students who have already been at Hancock for at least 1 year, maybe going on to somewhere else. But we don't provide scholarships for incoming students, those students who are coming from high school or coming from their careers into college. And that's when students need scholarship support the most. They need the vote of confidence, they need the financial support, and to know that the college is behind them. And that's why we have the Hancock Promise. The Hancock Promise, if you don't know, is a program that's been around for almost 6 years now that funds that first year for full-time students coming into the college from our local high school districts. I'm curious, students, how many of you came in on the Promise? Raise your hands. Yeah, our community is making that possible. But the Promise only covers that first year, right? And so that's why we're raising $10 million so that we can offer that promise into perpetuity.